In this talk, I want to continue with the theme of truth versus denial. We are we tend to live in denial of of the way, the reality of our lives, and the importance of learning the truth and being able to let down into the truth is it's very greater now than ever. And the reason for this is that the new age is approaching, and what we need to do more than anything else is to ready ourselves through learning the truth and through understanding that this world and this present social order that we have is it's not something to get attached to. It's not something that is what we've been taught that it is. And it's actually very oppressive for us. And again, I want to go back and bring forth the understanding that all of this has its roots in our state of consciousness that is an age-old state of consciousness that we all have been moving in. And this state of consciousness, which I call Adamic, based on the biblical portrayal that happened in the Garden of Eden when Adam awoke to this state of consciousness, is primarily based on two functions and orientations to life. And one of them is the dualistic viewpoint of life that we all has become very active in our minds. And the other is the sense of separation from all of life, from God, from our fellow man, from even ourselves, alienation from ourselves. And it is out of this sense of separation that we all have instinctually clicked into an orientation to life based on human strength alone. In other words, the orientation that we have been moving in for 6,000 years and are still moving in is self-preservation, self-reliance, self-determination, and human strength, ingenuity. That's our whole approach to life, is we are the ones that are making our way, and if we don't do it, it's not going to happen. And that is an orientation to life that has been constant for us. But what both of these aspects of our state of consciousness have brought to pass is a social order that is I've talked about before, and it's a social order that it needs to change, but we can't change it. It needs to change through the evolution of consciousness and through the moving into a different orientation, because our social order is directly based on our our human strength and our human ability to make our own way. And um, this social order, which I've talked about before, is it's has two different elements of society. One is a privileged elite element that is largely insulated from life's problems and the pain of life through uh, their great wealth and power. And the other segment of society is much larger, and unfortunately, the best word to describe this the life experience of this social segment is oppression, which means that life is very hard for us. But as I spoke in another talk, we tend to be in denial about how hard it is for us. We're very resilient, and we want to believe the best, and we want to make the best out of our situation rather than go through life feeling like it's so hard that there's no goodness to it. And so our culture has adopted this resilient tone, and almost all of us have become. This has been our outlook. Is It's been one of more of denial about how hard it is for us, and this has actually very much served to perpetuate things, because the main impetus that is going to bring change is truth. And so that's always what we want, is we want to see the truth in order that we will desire um, a better life, a better social order, and a better overall life experience. So the truth is that life is hard, but we, up until now, it's been too painful for us to admit that. And but in this talk, I want to also touch on the fact that life has not only been hard in this world for all of us, it's been very insane. And again, we don't want to look at this, and we feel like, of course, we all admit that things aren't perfect, but we need to let down into two things. One is how hard it is, and the other is how insane it is. Because these two things, if we let down into them and admit the truth to ourselves, will help us to awaken to the desire for something better. And it's not that we have the power to change this situation in our human strength. We don't want to go there, because that's been tried many, many times, and it doesn't work. What we want to do is admit these truths to ourselves so that each of us as individuals begin to yearn for a better life and yearn for the new age to come and a new state of consciousness for mankind and a new orientation for mankind and a new social order. So let's begin by taking a look at what our life experience in this world actually involves. Um, if I could, I would like to share with you some song lyrics written by John Lennon back in the 60s. And it's a social commentary song that is, it's very much in line with the broader narrative of that decade and especially the second half of that decade when social commentary arose because all the young people that were alive at that time began to be very honest with how things were and the kind of world they were expected to involve themselves in and that they were inheriting and a lot of the commentary touched on the fact that the life that we were inheriting as young people was basically insane. So I want to read the lyrics from one of John's songs called Working Class Hero. As soon as you're born, they make you feel small by giving you no time instead of it all, till the pain is so big you feel nothing at all. They hurt you at home and they hit you at school. They hate you if you're clever and they despise a fool. Till you're so crazy you can't follow their rules. When they've tortured and scared you for 20-odd years, then they expect you to pick a career when you can't really function anymore. You're so full of fear. They keep you doped with religion, sex, and TV, and I'm going to read this, but it's not my place to put anybody down. But John wrote that you think you're so clever and classless and free. There's room at the top, they are telling you still, but first you must learn how to smile as you kill. This is a very powerful song lyric, and unfortunately, it's true. And this is what we want to let down into. So let's begin with our birth into this world. And all of us have been born. That's one thing we all share. And I'm talking about the modern world now. I know that over the past 6,000 years, being born into the world has not always been exactly the same. It hasn't been like it is now. It's different. But for all of us, when we are born into this world, um, we are born immediately into the social order, the existing social order. And we are immediately conditioned to accept this social order as reality. This is a dominant theme in everything that we are taught from the moment we're born, is that this is how things are. And our parents usually participate in teaching us this because they themselves have been conditioned. And it's not just our parents, but from the time we're an infant, everybody we meet is moving in this same acceptance and adopting of the reality view that is indicative of this social order. So right away we're very we're in trouble from the day we're born. We're swept up into this reality view, whether we like it or not. When we're infants, we can't very well resist what's going on around us. We can't discern. We can't think for ourselves to the point of being able to say, I'm not going to receive that or believe that. We are just inundated with this reality indoctrination. And so that's happening in our home until we're 5 years old. And then the law of the land says in almost every country, especially the Western world, that when we turn 5 years old, we have to go to school. We have to be, we have to shift from our home situation, and we have to begin to spend most of our time at school among our peers, kids our own age, and under the tutelage of teachers who are hired by they're working, the teachers are working for the social order. The teachers have gone through school themselves, and they have earned degrees to be able to become teachers, and along the way they have become very sold to this reality view. So when they become teachers, they learn how to teach the curriculum of reading, writing, and arithmetic, and history and so forth, science, and many other subjects. But through it all, what they're really imparting to kids, to the young people in their care, is how to become a part of all this, and first of all, how to accept it and believe in it as reality, and then how to find your niche in it. That's what kids are taught in school. And it begins from the moment you go when you're 5 years old. And that's what John was talking about when he says that they make you feel small. What he's saying is they make you just feel like a cog in the wheel of what's already going on, and that you need to find your place in your niche and move toward that as young people. And when he says, by giving you no time instead of it all, your time is spent with them, with the teachers, with experts who are very well grounded in this social order and the perpetuation of it. And your time is no longer your own, which, as we will see, that's one of the things that how we have our time and how we spend our time is one of the things that will change in the new age. Human beings, we can only imagine right now what it would be like for us as conscious human beings to have all our time free. If we had that, we would be an incredible species of beings. We would be more creative than we can even imagine right now. We would create wondrous things because of our consciousness, our endowment of spiritual consciousness. But in this social order, they give us no time instead of it all. And so John says that they make us so crazy at such an early age, and it's very true. And they fill us with fear till we can't hardly function. But we go on, and we go through school, and we learn what they teach us because we are in this world, and we do need a niche if we're going to survive. That's what life is all about, is once you get out of school, you have to have the skills to be able to survive. And in the school, they teach you how life is, and they also begin to teach you these skills. So eventually, we leave school, and some stay longer than others, of course. Some go on to college, universities, master programs, etc., and end up in school for many years. Others are anxious to get out of school and to begin living. And what we have to understand is that no matter whether we go to school for many years and try and learn a profession, or whether we exit school as soon as we can, we're all part of this oppressed segment of society. We're not the elite upper echelon. And because they have their own schools, their own teachers, they do not suffer the same fate from birth forward that we do. But I'm speaking in this talk all about us because we're not only the vast majority, but um, this is the segment of society that needs to hear the truth the most. So after we finish school, we are told, and of course we learn for ourselves also, that we need to work. We need to have a job. We need to earn money. And you you can stay in school and try and get a good job, or you can exit school at an early age and end up, you understand that you have to work, but you're just taking your chances that the kind of work that you'll do will be okay, and it's usually not. And even for those who go the route of staying in school as long as they can, even though their careers, their working experience is not what it's cracked up to be. So we're then expected to work. And the whole economic system is based on this. We don't have much choice about it unless we want to become a thief or make our way through life in some really dark way. If we want to be part of society, we have to work. And again, we go from school where our time has been monopolized to work where we work on the average of 40 hours a week. We spend our time in a workplace for 40 hours a week, and this is a consuming amount of time for us. But we don't, economically, we don't have any choice. Most of us could never afford to work 10 or 20 hours a week. So we work 40 hours a week. And there's other aspects to this expectation of work that are also very difficult. It's not enough just that you would be willing to work. But in our system, the way it is now, you have to find work. You have to be the one to make it happen. Even though they're telling you you have to work, they don't provide the job for you. You have to go out and make it happen. You have to apply for jobs, and it's one of the most humiliating situations that a human being can be in, to subject yourself to an application process for some terrible job that you don't want to do, and to have your fate in the hands of some employer that is probably, who knows, who knows where they're at. And nowadays, it's not even a human being that decides whether you're a qualified candidate for the job. It's an algorithm. So it's extremely humiliating to this process of going to work is first you have to find it, you have to make it happen, you have to apply, and you have to be turned down, and you have to persist. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And meanwhile, this is about the age when our biological impulses really begin to become very strong. And so we tend to, in our social lives, we tend to meet people that, young people that we eventually find someone to hook up with as a couple. And sometimes this can be experimental and not work out with the first person that we meet. But the biological impulse is strong, so we go from one person to another if that's the case. And some people are lucky enough to find somebody, the first person they are attracted to begin a family with, but others it takes a little bit longer. And so we, according to this social order route that we're on, we we now have our work, we now have our career, and we find somebody to become husband and wife with, to begin family life with, and this is a biological impulse, so it's one that we very much feel drawn to, but unfortunately in our social order, this is not as easy as it should be. In other words, a man and a woman were created uh, to to be intimate and to help one another and to be a great uh, gift to one another. But in our society now, it's more often the case that trying to carve a new life with someone of the opposite sex that is going to be lasting is very difficult. It's filled with many problems, and the foremost of which is just that it's very difficult to get along. It's difficult for the woman to get along with the man, and it's difficult for the man to get along with the woman. And this is totally based on our conditioning that we experienced just after birth. And in other words, people are conditioned to to be opinionated, to be strong, to be independent. And so when two people come together, there's just a clashing of these impulses that takes place. But if our commitment is strong, we learn to navigate these waters of discord, of emotional discord, and press forward and try and make our family life endure. And and then, of course, there's children that arrive on the scene. So we have our career, we have our mate, and now we begin to have children. And it's also at this time that we try and establish home, a place where we can have our family and be safe and have all of our needs met to raise our family and to experience the goodness of having a family. But again, this is an insane situation. Having a home is not automatic in our society right now. It's very difficult. It's economically out of reach for the majority of people to own their own home now. And to rent a home is also very complicated. Um, when you own a home, if for those who are lucky enough to be able to do that through their economic situation, it's an ongoing struggle to be able to afford it with taxes and insurance premiums and maintenance that is the cost of maintaining your home is out of whack, out of reach. So owning a home is an ongoing struggle, and renting a home is an even worse struggle because when you rent, there's many times a sense of temporality about your situation because the landlord can either at any time raise the rent, out of reach, or you can have other problems that make your renting situation intolerable. So renting often involves a very temporary outlook, which when you're trying to raise a family is not nice. So getting a home is a major difficulty, but again, we don't have much choice, so we press forward the best we can and try and get some kind of a home situation squared away. And a lot of people, when they find something decent in this arena, they just stick with it for a long time because they know how difficult it can be. And so you have your home, you have your job, you have your family, and you're moving forward in life, and even though things never really become very easy emotionally with your mate, you do have, of course, times of love and great enjoyment with your family. When children are little, it's a wondrous time for everybody. And but then, as family life goes on, you are confronted with the fact that your own children, when they turn 5, need to go to school. And they need to go through everything that you went through when you were young. They need to spend their time away from home with teachers and peers. And they need to be taught how to find a niche in this world, in this social order. So your children begin to spend a large part of their time away from home, and things might still be okay for a while, but when they become teenagers, things shift. They're spending so much time at school among their peers that the input in their lives that influences them shifts from you, their parents, to their peers and their teachers. And this can cause a huge amount of discord in your home when your children begin to come into their own and to rise up with their own opinions and to say, come to their parents, that is you, and say, I don't like this or that about our home life. And so from that point on, there's discord emanating from that source. But, we go on and we press through and we do the best we can. And our kids do grow up and eventually they leave the nest. And when that happens, that leaves you back with your mate again. And this, it seems like this would be a stage in life when something really good could happen for us, something deep, something spiritual. but it usually doesn't happen because in our economic system at this stage, we tend to work at our jobs or our careers even harder because we have to think about retirement. And retirement in our economic system is almost invariably means a cut in income. So what people find is that after the kids leave the nest, they're having to work harder than ever in order to save for retirement. So they're not free. Their time is not their own, and they have this goal of saving for retirement, and then health problems begin to come into the picture, and uh, as we get old, we're working too hard at that point, and our bodies feel it, and our bodies begin to break down, and that's pretty much how most people live. Is that you eventually do retire, but you're too broken to enjoy anything at that point. It's just as John uh, as his song lyrics describe, you're too crazy at that point. You're too broken, and so this is an insane social trajectory for life. It's um, it's just one thing after another that keeps us diverted and keeps us from having any kind of real uh, deep experience with life, and for most people, it's not fulfilling on the deepest level. I mean, human beings have the capacity with our consciousness to be very fulfilled, but this life route that we're all on and all made forced to take in life doesn't really allow for conscious fulfilled life to happen, and that's an insane situation. And what I've endeavored to do in this talk is to just bring to light the fact that this is not good, what we're in. Um, we need to um, have it in our hearts that we want more than this. We want something better, and that something can only come through a change of consciousness and a new age dawning. It's not going to happen in this present social order. It's never going to happen. And so we want to have it in our heart that we desire something better, and not be afraid to hold that in our heart and to recognize and admit that truth to ourselves. And because this will it will prepare us for the new age on a spiritual level that we can't really understand right now fully. Um, People think that what does it matter? I'm just going to die, when I'm old. So what does it matter what I hold in my heart at that point? But it does matter. It matters because the new age is going to be, um, it's going to involve the resurrection from the dead. It's going to involve the retaining of all that's good in life carried over from this age, including us, if we are yearning for it, and if we make the changes in our lives and in our consciousness that prepare us in this life, we will be partakers in that new age that is filled with goodness and sanity. um, so let's not deny the insanity of what we've all been living through for probably many lifetimes, not just this lifetime. And let's hold in our hearts the desire for something beautiful and sane and good.